Hi everyone, just checking on the sound. Just got in. Hope you're all still there. Thanks for waiting. Okay, sound is good. I gotta excuse me, I had to sneeze. Hi Christine, how are you? Okay, so I'm almost ready, but let's get started. Hi Lynn. Okay, so today we're making the box bag, having the zipper in the middle. Oh, little extra tab out here. I really wanted it on this side, so probably today I should put it on both sides because I swear no matter how many times I check to see which side my zipper's on, so I want to have it to hold when I unzip. But I guess having one to hold when I zip it back up would be good, so I probably should have two of these. And let's see. Oh, I think I got enough. I got enough for two here, I think. So my iron is heating up. Sorry, my class ran late. Someone was having problems with their machine. Whew. Okay, so we have, oh, let me get my Christmas, egg ladies, there we go. Let me get my little decorations here out of the way. There we go. Put the bag back there. Pin cushion, everybody got their pin cushion ready? Pins, all that. Extra fabric, extra fabric. Oh, I don't have a zipper. Okay, so we have two fabrics. Your outside fabric and your lining fabric. Excuse me. And we're going to be putting shape flex onto the back of the outside fabric. And shape flex, for those of you that don't know, you should have some on hand all the time, especially if you do machine embroidery, because it really helps support the fabric. So shape flex is, I think they call it a stabilizer, but to me it's more of an interfacing. I think of a stabilizer that's something that you hoop for your embroidery machine. This to me is more of an interfacing that just helps support the fabric, gives it a little more body. And you don't have to use it if you don't want to, but I think this could use a little more body. You could use, if you wanted it a little stiffer, see, like this bag that I have, see how it stands up like this? So this has Decker Bond in it, interfacing, and we'll do one of these bags at some point. And I like it because it does stand up. So, yeah, it's thread in there. It's thread for a certain project. But anyway, see how nicely this one stands up straight. It doesn't, and I don't have any batting in it, because I think batting sometimes depends what you're doing. I didn't need that extra cushion in there, but I wanted something that had more body to it. So Decker Bond, they're all made by Pellon. So Decker Bond is DECORBOND, Decker Bond. I think the other one is Craft something, and that's too heavy. So the Decker Bond is a little bit lighter. And again, depends what you want. But see, this has got a little body to it, but it stands up nice and straight. I'm proud of myself that I could put my hands on that right away. Okay, so I believe that you guys are probably all ready ahead of me, because I did put up instructions the other day about the fabrics and so forth. I still have to shape flex mine, but I thought in case there are some people joining us that didn't cut ahead, this is two 12-inch squares. You could do 14-inch squares, whatever you want. You don't want it to be too small because we're boxing 4 corners, and that takes up um, an inch at least all the way around. So don't go too small on it. Your regular, what do we use, like a 14-inch zipper? We have, and I made these all the same size because it just was easier. So we have 2 pieces that are 1.5 by 6. I made them a little longer this time. 1.5 by 6. And these are going to be our little tabs at the end of the zipper. And these are the same size. And I made the loop with that. I hope it's the same size. I think it's the same size. We'll find out, won't we? Okay. So 4 pieces, 1.5 by 6. 2 pieces, outside, inside, 12-inch square, shape flex on the back of this, and I'm going to, I wish I could play you music or something, but I need to, while you're cutting, everybody's cutting, I'm going to get some shape flex. Let me get my shape flex and show you how I cut for shape flex. That's probably a good idea. So let's see how I can do this. Let me cut a, so I know this is 12 inches across. Doesn't matter which way it goes, at 12 square. So I'm going to cut my shape flex. Let's see if I can, I got it still on the bolt, so hold on. I'm going to cut my shape flex like 11.5. So I got to make sure I don't step on the keyboard or the mouse. And so, because I don't have a whole lot of room here, I'm going to have to kind of guess. But what I want is, the point of it is I want less shape flex, a little less shape flex, like a 1/2 inch less than my square. So let me just cut this. Wow, that was a bad cut job. Looks like beavers did that cutting. So we set this aside. So what I want is, and if your fabric is wrinkly, make sure you iron it. I got a wad of glue there. Make sure you iron it before you put your shape flex on, because you don't want to iron in permanently a wrinkle. So I'm just going to fold this up. So I need to, now I got a little more room here. So I'm just going to straighten out this side. And normally I would, put it on the bigger cutting mat and make it nice and even the first time around. But so I'm going to cut this 11.5 square. So that'll give everybody a little time to get their stuff situated. And for those of you that are all ready, you can just relax, have a cup of tea, take a minute. Okay, so what I want, and I'm going to leave it on this side because I'm afraid somebody will put it on their front. So back of the fabric, you can feel that it's kind of rough side. That's the glue side. And what I want is, you see how I have a little just fabric all the way around? Then I'm not going to melt my shape flex into my ironing board or my pressing mat or whatever I'm using. I believe the instructions call for you got to use a pressing cloth, which can be just a piece of muslin, regular muslin, not too thick. And usually it should be damp, and you're just going to press and hold it down, press and hold it down all the way around. I'm going to do mine a little quicker than I normally would. So let me get that going. And for those of you that need to do this too, we can do it. And make sure after you press it on this side and use your pressing cloth, just turn it over to the other side. Don't need your pressing cloth now. And then just press again. And press means, you know, kind of this up, down. Ironing is doing like this. So, hi Cindy. So that's my outside piece with my shape flex on it. My inside piece, and I just got to give that a little iron. Okay, and I need a zipper. Always helpful to have a zipper. So I've got a zipper. Remember how we talked about last week? Oh, which way am I going? I've got a really long zipper, so I'll be able to make another little zipper. And if you're joining in for the first time, if you look at last week's, that was the 7th. If you look at last week's, I showed you how to, you can buy extra pulls. Just make sure you get the size pull that goes for the zipper, and you'll know because the same pull size. Okay, well, threw the wrong one away. We're going to take two of these pieces. Oh, should have brought my ironing closer. So the two pieces that are going to be these loops. Okay, let me move all this stuff over. So I'm just going to fold it in half. So I folded it in half so that I have a crease mark. And then I'm just going to, oh, I got pink thread. So you see my crease mark, like right here. I'm going to fold each end in to the crease mark. And you could make this bigger if you wanted to. And using an iron would, you know, work really well. And then I'm going to fold this side in to the crease mark. And then I'm just going to fold it over. And now this one is smaller. So if I wanted a wider one, I have to look and see what I did here. If you want a wider one like this is, then I would go, let me see, that's a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch and a half. No, that's 1.5. No, wait a second. So would it be 2 inches? You would cut it 2 inches, but this works. This is okay for me. And you would give that a good press with your iron. I'm just going to clip mine for the moment. And I'm going to do another one. So again, I'm going to fold it in half. And that's just to get that center line. And then fold into the center. And so that the raw edges are meeting. They don't have to be exactly touching, and they don't need to be crossed over each other, because you're going to fold this. You're going to fold this over so that you have the two folded edges and your other edge. So the whole point is to have no raw edges. And I'm just going to clip this to hold it. You'll be ironing, because you probably can reach your iron. Actually, I'm gonna use a pin, because I can leave that pin in, because I've got a heat resistant end on that pin. So I could leave these pins in, but generally you fold it, right at your ironing board. So we might as well get all our little pieces done at one time, as far as what we need to iron. Okay, so I've just ironed it so that when I go over to I've just pinned it so when I go over the ironing board, I can just get that done. These two are going to be the zipper tabs. So they're going to go on the end of the zipper, okay? So what we're going to do is, let's see. I was thinking about doing our zipper tabs. Yes, Christine, it does make it small, but like I said, you can cut yours bigger, so cut it 2 inches, 2 inches by 6 inches, or not have any at all, whatever size you want it to be. I could have cut, yeah. Okay, so our tabs, we're going to fold under each short end. And then I'm going to match them, the folded ends, match them together. And again, I can use one of those little heat resistant pins. And again, if you're right next to your ironing board, you're going to do this right at your ironing board, so you'll fold one over and press it, and fold one over and press it. Whatever's easier for you. Everybody has their own little way of ironing. The important part is you want to get them lined up. Okay, so we have 2 tabs, and they're folded under about a 1/2 inch on each short end, and then lined up across that fold. I'm going to press those. And then I've got my 2 tabs, which are going to be loops. I'm going to call them the loops, which are going to be on each end of the bag. And that was folded in half, and then each raw edge folded into that center, and just give it a press. And be careful when you iron pins, because they'll get hot. So for now, we're just going to set these 2 over here. I've set up so that you can see my sewing. I don't think you need to be up close to it. And let me set that there. Oh. Got that gigantic pair of scissors. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sew down the side that has the open and the two folds. We're going to do that first, and we're going to try to make sure that they're lined up together as close as possible. I'll stitch mine, and let's see, I've got some green thread, so let me stitch with green thread so you can see it. Normally I would probably use the white thread or an off-white thread, and you wouldn't be able to see that at all. I don't think this is the right shade of green, but that's okay. I have my regular presser foot on, so I'm on a baby lock, so I have my J foot on. Make sure you have out your zipper foot, because we're going to need your regular. The zipper foot came with your machine, or if you have another one that you like to use, that's fine. I'm going to move my machine a little closer to me. It's so heavy, I don't think I lifted it up enough, and I moved mat and all. Okay, so I'm going down the side where the two folds meet, not the plain side, that's the easy side. We want to get this one lined up first. So I'm going to drop my needle. So I'm using my hand wheel that's on the right side of my machine to get my needle where I want it to be before I put my foot down. And take that stitch and I don't want to be at the very, very edge, because chances are we haven't lined up perfectly those two folded sides. That's just the way, life is. So I got to get closer because I can't see. Oh. So let me turn it so you can, there we go. You see the stitching across? And we're going to do that on both sides of both pieces. Okay? Christine is asking, I'm sorry, could you do the second tabs again? The zipper tabs? The zipper tabs are the same as we did last week and the week before. So we folded under a 1/2 inch, see it right there, folded under a 1/2 inch, maybe a little less, on each short end, folded them a half so that these line up together and press them. Because we'll trim this extra off when we put them on the zipper. I'm going to keep up with you guys today, if I can. Okay, Christine, you got it good. So I went down, all right, now I'm glad I did this because you're going to do this. So it's kind of funny. So let me see if I can get in close enough. Can you see that one side is green and one side is white? Well, if I have this tab this way, I have green thread on the top. I don't have green thread on the bottom. So I had green thread on the top and white thread on the bottom. So what I should have done is turn this around and come down the other side. What I did was I flipped it over. So you'll do that. It'll happen. It's okay. Not your prom dress. So this time, let's see if I can do it right. But you won't be, you're not going to be moving yours around and showing it in the camera and all that. So hopefully you'll pay more attention than I did. Okay, so my green is on the top. I'm just going to turn this around so my top is still on top instead of flipping it over. Hope that makes sense. And if you don't do well at the beginning, you're a little wobbly, it's okay because this is a little longer than we need, so some of that will get cut off. So this time I have green on. I have to get past the light there. See, I got green on both sides this time, but you can see where the stitching is. Okay, so we're going to set these aside for the moment, and I'm going to pray that I don't forget about them. Okay, so now to the business of the zipper. Okay, so we don't need our zipper foot yet. If I don't put these pins away, they'll fall on the floor and then somebody will be stepping on them. Okay, so for the moment, I just need my front fabric. My machine is, I need a smaller machine here. There we go. Okay, so let me move everything out of the way. There we go. So let me back up a little bit. There we go. Get all those distractions out of the way. So remember, we're going to mark our zipper where we want, where we're going to be cutting it and sewing it. Now, let me use a color that you can see. You remember last week I couldn't find my pens? Well, that's because they were right where they were supposed to be. So let's try, let's go with pink. Maybe that'll show up good for you. And it really doesn't matter what you mark it with because it's going to be hidden away. If you had a extra fine Sharpie, just don't get it on your fabric. So I'm gonna find my pull, and I'm gonna work from the pull end and have this left over down here so that I can make a little zipper out of it. If you have one that's just like 14 or so, just center. It doesn't have to be exact. So what we're going to do, now I've got this on my, see if I can come this way. Can I go backwards a little more? Oops, sorry. Let me see if I can move the camera back a little bit. Yeah, you'll see the edge of the computer, but you're okay with that, right? Oh, guess not if it's in your way, you're not. Okay, I just wanted you to be able to see both ends. So I'm gonna put my square on my mat because I can use my mat for measuring. And what I want to do is I'm going to measure over 2 inches. So I've got my tab out here out of the way because I just want that hardware out of my way. And I'm going to draw a line on the zipper 2 inches in. Did I do that? Okay. No, that's not right. Must be, hold on. Must be it. I'm having a moment. Bear with me. because I know we did an inch before. Maybe we'll do it. Okay, all right, so let me share with you what I'm thinking, because this is going to come up when you box a bag. So when you box a bag, you see, if this was zipper, this zipper would have to come up around on each end. Does that make sense? So I want to have tab coming up around on this end and have my zipper start in a little bit. So it will look like, you see, if it was flattened out, how much tab you'd have. But because we're boxing it, we need more tab. So maybe 2 inches is right. Let's see. 1.5 inches plus the seam. No, 2 inches is right. I was just having a moment, apparently. So I'm going to mark up 2 inches. And I'm just placing the zipper on. So I'm not measuring like from this end. I just have this out of the way. All this hardware and metal and all that. And then I'm going in 2 inches from the edge of my fabric and 2 inches from this edge of my fabric. So if you think about it, we're going to box an inch, and then we've got about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So there's another inch. That's where the 2 inches came from. So if you were boxing more, if you were boxing it at 2 inches, you might be coming over like 4 inches. Just don't mind if you have tab like, you know, an inch in and an inch in. Better to have a little more tab coming in than trying to make the zipper bend around this corner. Okay, and it's just a couple of pieces of fabric. So what we're going to do today is, so you know we cut it. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to stitch across my zipper just outside the line. So let me do that. And I'm going across my zipper, and I'm on the opposite end of the pull, because if I'm on the pull side and I stitch across, well, then I can't get the pull through. So I'm doing the other side first. And I'm just going to back over it again. So I just did a little stitching across, and you could be a little closer to the line, but now when I cut this, and I'm cutting right next to where I stitched, see it? Yeah, that's a good picture right there. Okay, but now my zipper's not going to come undone. And look how much zipper I got left. Now for this side, I've got to put the pull inside. Okay, and when I get over to the machine to stitch it, I'm going to make sure, remember we talked about pinching this together, and we're going to stitch just outside, so the left of that line. And trying to keep that zipper squished together. And keep your fingers out of the way of the screw that sticks out for your needle. I'm always hitting my hand on that. So there I am, my little stitching. Okay, and you see, I could have come out here further and had an even longer zip left over, but I tend to just make sure the hardware is out of my way. And I'm going to cut right near that line, smaller by the minute. Are we good there? So I don't want to go further. I'm just going to give you a minute to make sure everything's okay, because once I start sewing the tabs on, I might not be able to show you anything that you have a question on. And I got to make sure I close my pen. So let me see. I'll ask Lynn. Lynn, are you doing okay? I had to have a sip of tea. Okay, I think we're all good. We're all good? Okay, so now we'll take out tabs. So I can just set that up out of the way. I'm trying to be up far enough so you can see. So we're going to take our tabs and, geez, I hope I made them long enough. Our bag might get shorter. Oh yeah, I had to double check. So if you're trying to figure out, okay, so if you're trying to figure out for the size bag you're doing, oh hi Alberta, how are you? So if you're trying to figure out your tabs for what size bag, when you put your zipper down, you need your tabs to come up a little right on where that line is drawn. And don't forget, add an inch, because you've got a 1/2 inch folded under twice. And this end doesn't have to be folded, it can be 2 long pieces. Okay? So has everybody got long enough pieces? Let's hope. So I'm hesitating because I'm thinking about showing you another way to put a tab on. I think I'll try that. I'll show you another way. So we were opening this up and tucking this inside. So I think this time, as long as you've got plenty of tab length, let's just cut it in half. And if we do it this way, we don't really have to fold this piece under, because what we're going to do is, and sometimes I find this confusing. So I'll do this one the regular way, and I'll do this one, the new, what I call the new way. So one tab is going to go on top, and I've got it lined up with the edge, and I'm going to put that fold just so I know where it is. Well, let me see. I just got to make sure that I want to stitch on the line of the zipper. And see, that's why I do it this way. But I'm going to do it this way and this way. How many times can I say this way? Hi, Rhonda. So I'm going to take one tab piece, right side down, and I'm going to move my tab out of the way, the zipper pull. And I'm just going to pin this on, because you'd have this down on your table. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put the other side, almost took the whole tab, the other side on. And if I'm doing it this way, I don't need this folded down. And I'm going to put this one lined up with the front one. So let me do this and see if you like this way better. So the raw edge of my tab is aligned with the raw edge of my zipper, and my other tab they're all lined up, raw edges together. And I'm going to stitch in about 1/4 inch, because I believe my mark is about, where is it? My mark is about 1/4 inch in. And I'm going to stitch down. So I'm going to move my pin. I'm going to move my pin down further so that I don't have to take it off. Okay, so I got a little sandwich. Right sides are both facing in towards the zipper. Okay. Oh, hi, Nancy. Nancy, what is it? Sewing Nancy is with you, Rhonda? Or is it Saturday Nancy? Sewing Nancy, Saturday Nancy. I can't remember which one it is. Okay, so I want to be 1/4 of an inch from my edge, my raw edge. And I'm going to stitch down, I'm going to stitch across. And remember, because we stitched our zipper closed, we don't have to worry about that. Our pull is over here. But I want to go back again, and I'm not going to hit my back button and go all the way back. It's easier just to turn this around and then just go back over your stitching again. It's much easier because you can see your stitching. When you're going backwards, you can't see your previous stitching. And if you want to go back again and make sure that really is tight, stitched down, you can do that. It isn't going to hurt anything. Okay? So now, see, I just have to fold this back. So let me know, let me see, Rhonda, would you and Nancy let me know if you want to see this, the technique of how I did the tab different this week, or if you want to see the same as last week where we make the little sandwich. I'll let you girls decide. And if I don't hear from you in a minute, well, then I'll decide. Okay? Now, if you want to, we can top stitch across this. So why don't I do a little top stitch across, and that just keeps this from flopping around. It keeps this edge from creasing up. I'm pulling both pieces to my left, and I'll do a little top stitch. Oh, Rhonda, you guys like the new one? So I just did a little. Whoop. I know I got to catch the light. Just. Oh, there we go. Just did a little top stitch across. And see in here, see how I have just a little bit of, I just have a little bit of zipper in there. You see that little bit of green? Okay. So you want to make sure that you have enough tab. So you can have extra tab. You can have it. So if you want to make this 8 inches long, or each piece 4 inches long, go ahead. It doesn't hurt anything because we'll trim it off to match this anyway. So having an inch of fabric more isn't wasting any fabric, and it might make you feel a little better. So because I folded this one, I'm just cutting it. So I want to have 2 pieces. Okay. So first piece, and it can go underneath. So the first piece, let's do it this way. The first piece of tab is underneath, but the right side is facing the zipper. And this isn't folded this time. This is just raw edge to raw edge. And then I'm going to take the other tab and I'm going to line them up. So all the raw edges are right there at the top. And I put my pins away and I didn't have a pin. And I'm just pinning it down here just so when I go through the sewing machine, I can just leave that pin there. It's not bothering anybody. Now, you don't have to be 100% center as long as you've got some extra fabric on each side of the zipper to be able to trim it. Okay? So again, if you want to cut this 2 inches, go ahead. It's okay. If it's easier for you to work with a bigger piece or longer piece, that's okay. If you're not sure, just make it bigger because we can trim it down at any point. Okay? So I'm gonna stitch across here, and I want to be in 1/4 inch, which lines me up pretty well with that stitch line. Okay? I'm sorry, the line I marked, not the stitch line. And again, I'm going to stitch down. So I stitched across. I'm just going to turn this around I'm going to stitch back, and I'm going right over my other stitching. And just because I might be nervous that what happens if it comes undone, or you know, the pulls go in there, just do another row of stitching. It's okay. What's a little more thread? Okay? I wouldn't do it like 5 times, but you know, 3 or 4 is okay. And then I just open this up. Okay? And you're gonna press yours. So you're just gonna go over to your iron. Remember, this is plastic. Go over to your iron. Just set it down for you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and pick it up. You should be good. Okay. So now I'm gonna top stitch this, and I'm gonna pay attention because I've got green thread in the top and white thread in the bottom. I want to make sure this is my top because there's my pull. So I want to make sure I have green thread showing on the top. Just because I made a mistake doesn't mean I have to keep making that mistake. So we do that. And I'm just going across one time because this is just a decorative top stitch. You've already stitched 3 times underneath to keep that, to help with the stress on these ends. Okay, we good? So now let's see if I can get this down where you can see it and I can still. So now we just need to, can you see how mine's a little bigger on each side? So I'm just going to trim it. So shall we trim it now or shall we wait? Let's trim it now because I think it'll throw your eye off otherwise. Let me get my rotary cutter. I put it behind me. I just got a smaller ruler because to me, smaller ruler is better. So I want to be evenly across each side. So I've got to kind of turn this on an angle. And I'm just going to close my zipper all the way. It just makes this stay straighter. So I'm just going to come over to my edge. I'm lining my ruler up with the edge of my fabric. And go slow because your ruler is going to be a little tippy because of the teeth of the zipper. Okay, then I'm going to come over to this side. Whoop, I got to spin it around. I should have got my spinning mat out. And I just want to make sure that I'm at the edge and at the edge. Oh, now I'm going to pull that pole out of my way because it's in the way of my ruler. You know, you shouldn't be running your rotary cutter right next to your sewing machine. That's probably a bad idea. Can't live without my 2.5-inch square. Oh, thanks, Alberta. You like the fabric? I think I used this last week, the week before. It looks like ladies' patterns and stuff. It was some sewing fabric, sewing theme fabric. Okay, so we can close that for now. So now we've got our zipper is ready. Our little tabs are ready. And I'm trying to keep these nearby because nobody can yell at me to remember to put them in. Because the other day when I made one, at first I put them in too early, and then I was worried I was going to forget. Okay, now I've lost my lining. Here we go. Okay. So this is our fabric with the shape flex on it. This is our lining fabric. So we're going to have, let me see. I'm trying to always think of the easiest way for you to remember how to do this. So think of it this way. This is our lining fabric, right side up, because we're going to put our top fabric right side down. So you know when we sew two pieces of fabric together, it's right sides together, okay? Then our zipper needs to go in between to the sandwich. And, oh, I forgot, we need to trim this way. So what we want to do is, you see how my tab is wider than my zipper? I want it the same length as my zipper. Now, I'm not going to use this ruler because I don't have enough ruler to run down my zipper more. I'll show you. Okay. So having a longer ruler means I can run this edge down my zipper, my actual zipper more. And it's going to be a little harder. Let me move it up a little. Let's get up past that pull. Because see, if you're on the pull, you see how you're shaking all. Oh, sorry, that made the microphone go red. Sorry, everyone. So I'm going to be past the pull. And I just want to make sure that my zipper is running the whole way along the edge of my ruler. That way I know this is going to be straight in line with my zipper. If I come way up here and do it, I could be off crooked and not realize it because I have nothing to align it to. So I'm going to put my ruler down and I'm past, remember I'm past, the pull is right here. I'm not on the pull. The edge of my ruler, and I see how I'm just kind of pushing that in. So the edge of my ruler and the edge of my zipper all the way down are the same. So I want to hand me my rotary cutter. Okay. Because first of all, I don't want to cut off my zipper tape, which is the sides. And I'm just going to take my time. And you notice I'm not moving my ruler, and I'm closing my rotary cut. I'm not moving my ruler until I know I've got it cut right. Okay? So I'm going to turn it around, and now I'm still working on this same side, but I need to have it this way because I need the edge of my ruler to run along the edge of the zipper. And I mean, don't have the zipper sticking out. Okay? So now I just look like an extension of my zipper, so that everything's the same. I'm going to get my pull out of the way, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Except I really need to kind of pull this, because the zipper, you know, doesn't really want to behave itself. And I can see my edge. My edge when I cut is kind of coming out because my ruler is a bit up in the air. So whatever works easiest for you. But whenever you're trying to cut something straight, like squaring up a quilt or whatever, you need a good portion of your ruler onto the part that you're trying to line up to. And I'm just pushing that zipper in. I was just pushing that zipper in because see how he wants to get out and play. Okay? Doesn't have to be exactly perfect. This isn't like your zipper for your prom dress. Okay. So this is a square, so you got to make sure you got your directional going on right. Because this is going to go up and around, one side is, so this is directional, but you can't tell what's up or down. With this one is directional, but it's got ladies' heads and stuff. So when it comes up and around, you see one side is going to be right side up, and oh no, actually they end up both being the same. Look at that. Can you see it? They're going in the same direction. Okay. See, I always fold these up to double check myself. Okay, so remember, lining fabric, right side up, because, oh, I've got this upside down. There we go. Because our top fabric, outside fabric, is right side down. So if you just think about that and get that situated, right sides together, then we're just going to flip this out of the way. The zipper has to be right side up to the outside fabric, okay? And I'm just going to close this up for now because it's easier to handle it, okay? We got to have our clips. So let's see. Today is, let's call this a 5-clip day. What do you say? And you notice I had to be stupid and get 5 different colors. Okay, so I'm just going to pick this edge up. We're going to be stitching with the zipper right side up. So we want the flat part of our clips on the bottom. And the first thing I'm going to do is come down and clip each end. And I want to make sure when I do that this zipper is laying flat. If it's not laying flat, that means you've got more tab than you need. Let's just clip at the middle. Just run your finger along so the zipper, you're not going to stretch the zipper. So let's just make sure that it's laying flat. Come over this side, laying flat. Oh. And then I'm going to take this off just to make sure. I may have cut, you know, 1/8 of an inch or a sliver more than I should have, and that's okay. But I don't want to make the zipper work because I put these on first. The zipper's in charge. It gets to be first and want to know where it's going. Now, you have to decide, and I swear I get this wrong every time. You have to decide which way your pull should be. So I think I'm pulling left to right. Okay, so we just got a little practice in here. And again, I'm going to make sure my edges match, but I'm going to start from the center again. I'm going to spread this out. So I'm just running my hand along here, and I'm just pinching it as I pick it up. And I have to do this because it's so far away from me. And I'm just going to do the other side. Oh, you're welcome, Alberta's husband. Can I call you Tony, though? Alberta's husband said thanks for making her smile. Yeah, she's probably laughing. It's not a smile, Tony, it's laughing. But that's okay. It's Saturday afternoon. It's been a long week. Okay, so now we got that done. Everybody's good? Okay, and I keep doing this up. Keep putting that on upside down. Okay, so lining right side up, outside fabric right side down, zippers in the middle, zippers facing up. You know the zipper's facing up because it's got the pull on it, and we're leaving the pull right at the edge for the moment. Okay, so all we have to do, and I got to turn this way, we just got to match up, and this should match all the way around, but we just got to match up, and we can start at the center. So we want to make sure that we have all 3 pieces, fabric, zipper, fabric, all lined up together. So what I do is I I squeezed open my clip, but I didn't take it off, and I just scooted the top fabric under it. And when I get down here, I'm going to just give it a little pinch. You'll kind of get the hang of what works for you, whatever easier for you. Okay. So my zipper is under here, right side up, and now I can feel that pull, and I'm going to be stitching on this side first. So I want that pull out of my way, because it's not going to get by your presser foot. So I'm just going to open this up, just hang on to it, and I'm going to pull the zipper, let's go 3/4 of the way. Okay? So I'm right here. Don't get out a ruler. It's okay. No, it's a big smile. Okay, we got to put our zipper foot on. And we know we've got 2 sides to our zipper foot, so it's always like, oh, what side do I put on? Well, how about if I'm going to move this down, because remember, I want to have this on while I'm getting this edge ready. And I just want to make sure that those pieces stay together. So I'm looking, okay, here's my zipper running along the edge. So guess what? I need to be in the left side. Remember? Oh, that wasn't good. Oh, there it is. Okay, we got 2 sides. Okay, if you have a zipper, you can buy a narrow zipper foot, or what did I tell you? The adjustable zipper foot. The adjustable one, you move it back with a slider. But they make a narrow zipper foot that's just this size, with the what do you call it? The little pole here, the little rod going across, just one of those. And of course, we have in our Microtech needle, right? Microtech 70 or 80. Now, don't forget, no zipper here. So I'm going to take this just for the moment, and I'm going to stick a pin here to keep that together. What I want to do, I can't even feel the zipper, is I want to find where the zipper is. So I'm going to take this out. And I want to put the foot down. And when you put the foot down, go in where the zipper is. And when you put the foot down, remember, the zipper is riding under the foot on the left side where the little tunnel is. And then if I look at the edge of my zipper foot on this side to see where it is on my fabric, so it's right on the edge of my fabric, then I can come back to the beginning, line my zipper foot up exactly the same way as I'm going to knead it further up. That's the way I do it. Just, I'd rather not just guess about it. Once I have a few stitches in, which is my 3rd hand, then I'm ready to go. And I'm going to stitch till I'm halfway across. Oh, gee, everything's getting away from me here. Okay, so I'm about halfway, a little more than halfway. I can feel my pull is right here. I need it out of my way. I don't want to sew up to the pull, because I can't maneuver my fabric as well to get that pull by me if I've got my presser foot on my needle right near that pull. So I'm just going to open this up, find my pull, and I'm going to just go back. If I have an issue and I can't get by, swing it around and then swing it back. Okay? Everybody good with that? I'll give you a second to do that. You good? And then you're just going to continue on. And I went a little off kilter there, but now when I took my end clip off, I kept my finger in my hand holding all the three pieces together. Okay? We don't need to lock it at the beginning and the end. I keep getting this pink thread. I don't know where that's coming from. We don't need to lock it at the beginning and the end because we're going to have seams going in the other direction. So how are we looking? Looking good? So I want to make sure that I pull the back fabric, the lining fabric down. Okay, and you're going to go press yours. But first I want to make sure that my front is also pulled down. They should still be meeting at the bottom here. You see, I have a little, I could feel a little crease in mine. Because we have that, and I'm probably going to go over to the iron myself. Because we have that shape flex on there, it's a little more resistant to being flat, but it should end up with both pieces being, both front and back, or front and lining, being the same, meeting at the bottom the same. Okay? So what you can do is, let's see if I just put a clip there and a clip there. Let's see how this works. Flip it over. Yeah, I still have to be careful, and you can probably see it on yours. I need to push this down. Just bring that clip down and push this down and bring that clip down. And I'm going to just go give this a quick press. So you're going to press yours, and we're just pressing just to make sure that's down good. Took me a little extra because my iron shut off. Okay. All righty. We doing good so far? Oh, you're welcome, Alberta. So now we got to do our top stitching. And we already know, let's see, we're top stitching from this direction. And again, when we get further down, we're going to move this pull out of the way. So now our zipper's on our right. We need to change our zipper foot to the right side. I know, it's a pain in the neck. But think of all the zipper changes you've made in the last few Saturdays. And in this case, I'm going to determine where I want that stitching to be. It's probably, I bet it's like a 1/16 away. So I can stitch mine. So I don't need to go all the way up to my zipper to see that. So let's see. And remember, I don't want to get all the way down this end, so I'm going to turn this to get my slide by. And if I just have to work it a little bit, and sometimes I just got to push it through, just take your time. And let's see if you can see. Let me get the zipper out of the way again. There. So that's how close I got mine. I don't want it too far away because then it makes that little lip. Okay, we good now? All right. So we are on one side. We got our top stitching done. We're going to make sure we do that. And now we need to get everybody up because all the fabrics up, because remember, we always have the fabrics at the top of the zipper. So the fabric is always going over the zipper. The fabric will always cover the zipper when you're putting it on. Okay? So we can flip it over and work the back first. And what we're going to do is going to bring this up. And I have to do this way. I can't see it otherwise. So I close my zipper again. It just helps me keep it straight. So the right sides of the lining is to the right side of the lining. And keep in mind, we want to keep as straight here as we can. If it ends up a little off, we're going to straighten it before we finish it up anyway. So I can go to the middle. And all I did was I came up to this end because it's lifted up so that I could just slide this down. Oh, see, I did them upside down. Well, for Pete's sakes. That wasn't helpful, was it? Okay, now we're going to flip it over and we're going to bring our outside fabric up over the zipper, right side to the right side of the zipper. I'm pretty well thinking at this point it would be hard to get it wrong as long as you keep these two separate and you don't try to bring them both up at the same time. It just doesn't work that way. Okay, so you see my lining, right sides together, my outside front, right sides together, zipper is right side up, right side to the right side fabric. Okay, so I'll start in the middle. And I want to make sure that everybody's lined up. And remember, the zipper is facing up, so the flat side of our clips are down. And if you have your lining, like I have my lining is a little off, I can just take my clip off, line up the lining fabric in the top, and just reclip it. Okay, so I didn't line up my edges, so I'm off over here and I'm short over here. Oh, and I shouldn't have done that because that took both sides off, didn't it? So now I'm lining up this way as well. So I can't pick this up because I took my clips right off, and I should have just taken the front fabric out. But you'll do things like that, and it's fine. It's okay. And I'm working from the middle again, trying to make sure that I don't have it way off like I did. And the chances are you're going to be a little off, 1/8 of an inch or so. And again, that's okay. We'll straighten it all out after we get this part done. My zipper pull is down here because I'm going to start sewing up here. Okay, so again, I can feel the teeth. I want to be working from the right side. Teeth are up, okay? So what does that mean? Yeah, got to change my zipper foot to the other side. You notice when I change my zipper foot, so I have a button for my foot to go up and down. I don't use that and hope for the best that when it comes down, it hits my foot where it needs to. So I put that down because now I can use my lever. If I have this up and try to use my lever, can you hear it? It just doesn't work. So I have to have it down, lift it up, hit your button in the back, move it over, and just come down slowly with your presser foot lever. I'm trying to do it slowly to get to the spot you need. You don't just keep going up and down with your automatic one hoping for the best. If you knock your machine out of time and it costs you $125 to just fix it, you'll say, yeah, geez, I should have used that lever, shouldn't I? Or lever, depends which way you say it. Okay, so we're ready to go again. And again, you can come in and lift your foot up. I'm just going to move this clip down, and I'm just coming down into the zipper area so that I can feel where my zipper is. If I remember where I was the last time, I was at the edge of my fabric last time. So in order to keep both sides the same, I'm going to keep at the edge of my fabric. The edge of my fabric is at the edge of my zipper foot part in the front, not the back. The back sticks out further. So I'm just going to back up the edge of my fabric. Oh, so I went a little further than I should have. I should have stopped at halfway. I almost forgot. So I've just got to reach in here and move my zipper pull. And again, I'm just going to turn this. See, I went a little further than I should have. And just keep working it. If I'm having more difficulty, my needle's down, I can lift my foot and it lifts up a little further than it does with my button. And the same with any machine. Your lever goes up and down, but when you go up and it stops, there's a little bit more that you can hold up. It won't stay up. You have to hold it up. Okay, so now okay. So don't panic if you're having trouble getting by your foot. And you see, hanging on right to the bitter end. And my left hand is staying on till I'm done sewing. Okay, there we are. So now, I need to reach in and make sure that zipper, I can't tell which way I'm going. I'm going to open that zipper all the way. I'm going to reach in and turn it right side out. And I'm doing that because that's what you're going to just automatically do. Okay, now we went through this last week. So I'm just making everything neat inside. Everything's nice and flat. And again, if you want a bigger bag, make your square bigger. It doesn't have to be square. You could be longer this way if you want your bag to be wider instead of longer. Whatever you want. All it is a couple pieces of fabric and a zipper. And I'm reaching inside to make sure that I'm pulling my fabric. So I'm reaching in here, pulling my lining away from the zipper. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm pulling this really taut towards me. And this time I'll use a pin. I used a clip before. This time I'll use a pin. And I'm going to come to the other side because I can't see under there. But I can reach under here and feel it. And I'm just pushing them both away from the zipper. And this is just so I can get a press on this and not have anything crease. So, and I turn it one way for you to see, and then I got to turn it the other way for me to see. So I can roll it over, and I can see I can see right in there that I'm nice and flat. And I'm going to put another pin in. Okay, so I just want to double check, and I can look right inside here, make sure that's nice and flat. If you need to adjust it, just take your pin out and adjust it. And we're just going to take it over and just give it a little press. So remember, I'm using heat-resistant pins. If you're using these flower head pins, you're going to melt them. Okay, and I didn't really want to put a crease here, but I did, but it's okay. Okay, so now we have to top stitch. Remember that? So let's take the pins out, because this is going to be a little bit of an exercise in patience. So if you tell me you don't have any, I'm just going to tell you, well, yeah, you're going to today. Oh. Okay, so I already know I need to change my zipper foot to the other side again, because we did that last time, correct? Okay, so we can't stitch here, because what'll happen, we'll be stitching our bag clothes. So remember, we have to have this fabric above us. So we're going to turn it inside out. I'm trying to think of what's easy. I guess this way is easy. Just pull it on through after you made it all nice and neat with your pressing. Isn't that mean of me? Okay, the zipper's open all the way. And we're like, okay, well, how am I going to get in there? I can't go in this way. I got to be this way. So this took me a minute the other day. Hopefully I can do it again. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. So I just looked for where I needed to start. And I have to start here. Oh, and look, my pull's down this end. So I'm just going to push it down the other end. So I'm going to have to deal with it at some point. So I moved it down here. So the the best way I can say this, and this is what I did the other day. I went, okay, well, let's see how far I can get. Okay, so you moved your zipper foot, so you're now on the right side of the zipper foot. And let's see if I can come in a little closer. You can watch me struggle. Now, my fabric is all up above where I'm stitching. So I'm stitching in here, and my fabric's above, so I know where it is. Okay, so I'm stitching here because this is really what I want to do. I thought I did something wrong there for a minute. So you just got to have a little patience, you got to have a little faith, and we'll hope for the best. And let's see. Oh, you know what? I started from this end, didn't I? Does it make a difference? Yes, it does. So I need to start from, since I have my zipper foot on the right, I need to start so that the zipper is on the right. Okay, so now I got to push my pole down the other end. All right, I remember this now. Okay, so my fabric is above me. I'm stitching, so I already stitched on this side. I'm now stitching on this side. My zipper's on the right. And I'm going to put my foot down the same place I did when I did this top stitching. All right, we ready? Everybody holding their breath? And I'm just going to keep going. And I hope this is how I did it. And I'm just going to see how I just keep going. This is going to start coming up in the back, the same as last time, but this time we got even less room. I tell you, when I was doing this, I kept thinking, well, at some point I'm going to run out. And I just, see how I got this little hidey hole area? So I can only see about maybe 2 inches of my fabric at a time. But I can keep going forward. The hole kind of stays the same size because the fabric's coming up the back here, and that's fine. And you can feel the fabric kind of going like up and around. Excuse me. And remember, I want to get down far enough that I can get that. So I'm going to move my slide now. So I'm in this end, and I'm going to push it through to the back. I had to come in the little cave area. I had to flip the pole up. There we go. Okay, so now I got the pole past me. And again, I'm just working. I got my nose practically in the machine. I'm just working in this little area. And you keep thinking that, oh my God, I'm going to run out somewhere here, but I have to. I want to make sure that nothing gets in my way. And you keep thinking, oh my God, I'm going to run out. I can't go any further. Oh, it was just me in my own way. And then all of a sudden you'll go, oh my God, there's the end. I can see the end in sight. Just watch your finger next to where the needle bar screw there goes up and down. Because that's my downfall. Am I at the end here? There we go. Okay, did you make it? And now we got to get the whole thing out. So I just like unbunched it, and then it can come right out. Did you make it? Holy moly, huh? Make sure we open that zipper up. Everybody okay? Hey, Rhonda, give me a thumbs up if you made it. You got that little waving hand and thumb thing going. So I'm just reaching in here, making sure everything's flat. I need to have my zipper open. And what I want to do is my zipper is going to be in the middle. So if you need to measure, so if I have my zipper on this line, so the center, the open it, make sure your zipper's open. So I'm lining up with this center line, coming down the center of my zipper, and the center is down here too. Then I can measure in each direction out. So I got 1, 2, almost 3. So I got to come just a tad to my right. And make sure you reach in and have that, your front fabric is nice and flat, especially on this curve. You don't want the front fabric to be bunchy here. Oh, thanks, Ron. Oh, I got the thumbs up and away. Thanks. Okay. So it depends how fastidious you are, how exact you need to be. I'm pretty close. But again, I want to make sure that I reach inside here, and I'm running my hand along each edge to make sure that my inside fabric, which is really my outside fabric, but you know what I mean, is laying nice and flat. I don't have any creases going on. Okay? Let's see. So do you have it about where you want it? And again, I can stick a couple pins in just to keep everybody on the straight and narrow. And you should be able to feel along these edges if you feel anything bumpy. You know, you want to reach in and make sure that and when I reach in, I'm pushing against this edge. Okay? My zipper is totally open because this is going to be the only way you're going to get back into the bag. Oh, let me back up again here. Oops, sorry. Oh, that's too far. That's good. Okay? Now is the time to straighten out these edges. When you straighten out the edges, try to keep in mind, take the same amount off both sides. So if your zipper is a little left or right, take a little fabric off the opposite side. Okay? So now we're going to trim our edges, and hopefully you'll remember to tell me to put these on. Okay? Now, normally I wouldn't use my little rotary cutter. I'd use the 45, but so I'm looking here along this bottom and along here, trying to make sure everybody's straight. And I'm just going to move the pull out of the way for a second because it does mess with your ruler. So I'm running the line along here and the line across the top. And I'm making sure that's cut off before I move my ruler. And then I'm just going to turn it around and do the same thing. That's looking better, don't you think? So see, you didn't have to be perfect. Okay, now I got to remember to open my zipper up. Okay, and I'm going to keep my pull is facing that way, because if I face it this way, it's lumpier, if you know what I mean. So now we've got to put in our pulls. I mean our, what did I call them? Loops. So I'm going to fold my loop in half. And if you have the same color thread on both sides, just pick whichever side looks better. So now that I look at this, I've got numbers there. And if I look at this, I've got, I don't know, just lines. So I think I'm going to switch it around. Even though part of my numbers are cut off and my pretty green thread's on the inside, that's okay. I'm all right with that. Okay? And I'm just going to take this to the machine and sew it. Now, the reason I'm sewing it is just so that it stays together. Oh, so I can take my zipper foot off, put my regular foot back on. Alberta was asking about, missed your first class. We've had two, Alberta. So you just have to look back on the YouTubes from last Saturday and the Saturday before. I didn't do written instructions. I know, it's on my list. Okay, so I'm folding this. So the side I like the best is on the outside. And I'm just going to stitch a 1/4 inch from this edge, holding one right on top of the other. You're only going to get about, I don't know, 3 stitches in maybe. Oh, I got like 4. And that's just so I don't have to mess around with it. Okay? Then I'm going to do the other one, which, oh, I got good numbers on this side. Oh, you're welcome, Alberta. And I'm going to do the same thing. Sometimes if you just take the time to, my foot's getting away from me. Sometimes if you just take the time to do these little things, rather than rush and hope it holds with a pin, it makes it so much easier. If I had room enough, I'd baste it, but well, let's see if we can or not. Forgot what I was doing. Okay. Yeah, we could baste. We could baste them in if we wanted to. You want to do that? Let's do that. So we're lucky because we have no zipper here at all. So this tab has to go in. And hey, Christine. Now this size tab fits exactly in that. That wasn't good planning on my part. Trust me. It fits exactly in the size of that. The tab, the zipper tab. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just stitch that on there. But see, now I'm not fighting with lining up the 2 ends of the loop. So I can just go in, and if I want to, I can stick a pin here. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to take and I'm going to hold this up for you. And what I did is see how I wove my pin in and out. So I want to make sure that my edge of my loop is past this edge. So I know I'm okay. And I'm just going to stitch across about 1/8 of an inch in. And I can start before the loop and end after the loop. Okay? I'm going to do, oh, make sure we take that pin out. And now I'm going to do the other side. So again, loop is facing in. A little bit of the edge of the loop, see it, is hanging off. And because I already stitched them together, I don't have to fight with holding them in line. Mine aren't perfectly together, but they're close enough for me. I don't need to stitch back and forth and back and forth, though we could. So if we have, we already took the other side off. But if you're concerned with that pull, because what did I call it? The loop. Let's stitch it a couple times. Because I just, sorry about that. And I'm just going to go like we did with the zipper. I'm just going to go back and forth a couple times because we're going to be pulling on that. So let's go back. Let's take this pin out and let's go back to the other side and add a couple more rows on. No big deal. The nice part now is it's already in place. So I'm going to go across, just spin it around and go back. It doesn't really matter if the stitching is on exactly on top. It's going to be in the seam anyway. Okay? So I still have my pins in, all that moving around. I just want to make sure everybody's happy. Okay, so now we're going to do our seams. Now, because we've stitched this loop in place, we can go ahead and cut that extra off. If I had only pinned it or taped it in place, I would leave it, just so I know it didn't get away from me somewhere. Okay? So now we're going to do about a little less than a 1/2 inch seam on each side. So let's say a quarter, if you want to do a quarter, a full quarter. So what I'm doing is I have my J foot on. I'm not going to my setting in my machine for the 1/4 inch foot, the 1/4 inch seam allowance that I would for quilting. I'm on stitch 1-03, which is the straight stitch in the middle, and I'm going to use the edge of my foot as my guide. And that's just going to give me a little more than a 1/4 inch, and that's fine. And I want to make sure that I stitch forward 3 and back 3. So, or 3 or 4, whatever it takes to get back there, because I want to make sure I lock these. Oh, I didn't come to the edge enough. And remember, when I get done, the way I do it is I'm going to go back about 6, and then I'm just going to come forward 2 and cut. And that way I don't have those threads at the end. Okay, and I'm just going to turn it around to the other side. So here's my, see my seam allowance? It's just a healthy 1/4 inch. So I'm going to stitch forward and back. So sometimes I'll start on the fabric a little further in and then just stitch back more. If you had wanted to, you could have stitched across, turned back, stitched across, and turned and stitched. But we already stitched that loop in there like 3 times. Okay? So you could take this to your serger, or I'm going to pretend I don't have a serger and I'm just going to do a zigzag stitch on each side. And if you need to trim this up a little, go ahead and trim it up. So I'm just using stitch 1-09, excuse me, and I'm leaving it at the settings that it's at, the default settings. I don't need to start at the very edge. Oh, lost my thread. So my thread came undone, so I'm going to cut it and rethread it just in case there's something going on there. Today my thread is very, very curly today. So lock at the beginning and go ahead and zigzag. If you didn't lock, it's okay because we're going to be going back over that area. And lock at the other end. If you wanted to do a French seam here, you could. Okay, and while I'm thinking of it, I got to take those pins out. And then I'm just going to do the other side. I'm going to lock in place. And then go ahead on. Oh, for crying out loud, now I'm out of bobbin. Let's see how far I can get. One more, I just need one more. One more. Now, if you're on your embroidery side of your machine, you generally have way less bobbin left over than your sewing side. Let's see if it paid. Let's see if it worked. Oh, it ran out just a little before. Alrighty. Now, I had about 10 bobbins here earlier. And then I dropped them all on the floor, so. This is my new bobbin holder. What do you think, Straw? Okay, so I'm changing to a gray. That way you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see what the next part pretty good. Oh. And I'm going to go back over and finish that little bit. So I'll just do a locking stitch over about a ½ inch of where I already stitched, and then just continue on. And then lock it. Okay, now you're going to need your marking pen and a ruler. Okay, how are we looking? We're inside out. We just did our seams. We did a zigzag to kind of finish it off. Again, you can do a French seam if you want to, and if you want to know how to do a French seam, that was Saturday's bag 2 weeks ago, and in the title it says French seam. And Alberta, I think the tabs was last week, and I put the tabs word in the title. Okay, so we're going to box not 2 corners, we're going to box 4 corners, 2 on each side, which gives us this look. If our zipper's in the middle, we've got 4 corners. If our zipper was at the end, hold on. If our zipper's at the end, we only have to box these 2 corners. You see the difference? Zipper in the middle, you've got an end on each side. So we're boxing 4 corners. You ready? It's not hard. Okay, so we're going to need some, let's see. What are we going to do today? Let's do pins. We're going to need 4 pins. So I'm going to reach my hand in here, and what I'm trying to do is, and let me do it here. What I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to get a triangle, but my triangle has to have this seam, not the seam allowance, but this seam in the middle. So that's why I put my hand inside. I've got my finger jabbed up into, see how my finger is right here, jabbed up into that corner. So you've got to decide which way your seam allowance is going to go. I have mine going away from the zipper because it seemed like that's where it wanted to be. Okay. Oh, Alberta, is that the link for my, I see a little YouTube thing. You guys are so clever. Okay, so I want to have the seam itself in the center. So if I look up here, there's my seam in the center. And I'm going to take and put a pin out here. But I want it away from this edge because we're going to be measuring in. So I'm about, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inches out. Can you see? Then I'm just going to go over to the other side. And the reason I want to go to the other side right away, because I want to make sure the seam allowance, they're both heading in the same direction. So we were this way, it's headed this way, this way, this way. I keep using that this way. So our seam allowance now, because we turned around, is headed in the to the right. And again, I'm going to poke my finger up in there because that seems to help me get this centered. Okay? And it's hard to get your eye on the seam instead of the seam allowance. You just kind of have to concentrate. But if I look, you see how they look? This is going up nice and evenly. Okay? And I want to make sure it's smooth on the back. Another pin, a little ways down, and I'm pinning all the way through. Okay? Now we're going to go do that at the other end. I don't know why it works for me to jam my finger up into that corner, but it seems to. Okay? And again, I'm just trying to get this centered. And let's see, I want to push that seam allowance away from the zipper again. No particular reason. And what I want to try to make sure that I do is I want to make sure this is even though it's, I don't need to be way down here, because I'm trying to make sure this stays straight. I did this the other day, and I put clips up here, and it kind of got, the clips got in my way. So we're going to pin today. And again, I'm going into the last corner. Seam allowance is going the same way on both sides. Trying to get this little, I call it little teepee. This is running as straight as you can. We're not perfect. No prom dress here. This isn't even the bag to take to the prom. Okay? So look, do you remember those cootie catchers? So we got a cootie catcher on each end. Am I the only one that remembers cootie catchers? Do you remember they had numbers on them or colors, and when you do them, you'd pick a color, and then they'd do it again, and then you'd open it, pick a number, and then you lift it up, and it's supposed to say, like, you know, you're a jerk, or it either says something bad or something nice, trying to be funny. Okay, so we got our cootie catchers at each end, our zippers along here. Okay, we looking good? So see, you're looking about like that. Okay? Now we're going to measure, and we're going to draw a line. Oh, I got to be up there further. So let me get my ruler again. What did I do with my favorite ruler? Oh, here it is. So we're going to measure in. Let's see if I can do this so you can see. We're going to measure in from the very edge 1 inch. Okay? So my 1 inch is right here. I'm going to put the inch mark on the edge of my point. Sorry, I can't get it from there. I actually have this little, can you see the little line? This line kind of follows along with this edge. Oh, thanks, Alberta. You remembered the cootie catcher? And I'm at this. Hold on. I'm at this edge. Well, let me do this. Can you see I'm trying to do it so there's no glare. I'm at the edge of my stitching right there. I don't care about this hanging out here. Okay? So, oh, I'm back. Now I'm backwards again. Okay? So 1 inch. And you want to try to stay straight. So if you have that angled line, that will help you stay straight. And it's a little hard. You got to get up. So just draw your line as best you can. Oh, for crying out loud. There it is. See it? My line. Okay, 1 inch. And you're going to do that on all 4 corners. And you'll pretty much start to see, yeah, this way, how much fabric is in there to get them all to be the same. Are they going to be perfect? Probably not, but it's okay. So to me, it's much easier to get all the corners straight, pin them all, and go all the way around and do that. Then mark them all the way around and do that. I look like I'm crooked here. Than it is to do one, sew it, do one, sew it, do one, sew it. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to sew across, and then we're going to turn and sew back again. Okay? So remember, see the seam allowance. You got to be aware, make sure it stays down. So we're going to do a locking stitch at the beginning. So I'm going to do 3, 4. Oh, see, I still got my zigzag on. That wasn't helpful, was it? So I got to go back to stitch 1 dash. Oh, wait a minute. Where am I? 1-03. And I just had to pick that little bit of zigzag out. Okay, now let's do it. So 3 forward, 3 back. And I know I'm going to stitch back around again, but that's okay. I'm holding down my seam allowance. I'm going to get to the end. I'm going to turn around and come back, following my stitching as best I can. And I'm going to stitch back about 5. And then I'm going to stitch forward 2 and cut my thread. Okay, you could cut these ends off, but then you'd have to zigzag. I leave them because I think it adds a little structure to the bag. So let's go ahead and do the other 3 corners. Turning it around, heading back. We're on the last leg of our journey. Okay, make sure you take your pins out as you go. Don't think you're going to remember it later. You see how little confidence I have in your remembering. It's really my confidence in my remembering, not really yours. And you notice I take each pin out as I go. Guess I already told you that. See about my remembering? Is everybody done before me? Okay. Now we're going to turn the bag right side out. And oh, there's our loops. So I'm pushing out my corners. Oh, so how nice and square they are. And I probably, so before we turn this, I would go over to the iron and iron these down this way. I don't think it really matters, but it just gives a little more body there. Like you've already waited for me to iron enough today. Is everybody excited? There we are. Now, when you iron this side, if you iron this, you see how I'm grabbing these ends? You iron this, pull this, and then iron that straight across, and then iron this one, and you want to make sure you get them even. First you want to iron these flat, so you'll go over to the iron and iron these flat. Take a little of that, you know, give it a good shot of steam. That will help so if you iron these first, so iron this, make sure it's pushed all the way out, iron all four sides. It may be enough, yeah, see, look at that. It's enough to keep it as a box. If you want a little more box, then you can go ahead and kind of take this and press it, okay? But how's that? How did everybody do? Now, those are a little long. I will say that those are a little long. So that was cut 6 inches. So maybe if you want it shorter, cut it 5. And you can always, when you make them longer, you know how we pulled the edges out past the end of the bag, just pull it out further and cut it out, cut it off. They don't cut it out, cut it off. So look at that, my scissors will go in. My favorite ruler, my pen, my corner puller out, pusher out, oh look, here we go. There are all kinds of things that can go in there. Okay, but see how, you can see it on this one, see how that tab is coming up around that. So it's not it's not thick here with zipper, and I only have about a half inch showing, and I do want some of it to show. And that's half the point of putting it there. So, oh, Christine, you got finished. Good for you. So, does anybody have any questions? And again, I apologize for our slow start today. I know it. I know it was probably a pain in the neck. I just got held up, and that's going to happen one Saturday a month. But yeah, I'd say my poles are a little long, only because they stick up like little antennas, rabbit ears or something. But that's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I certainly wouldn't do it over. So let me see if anybody has any questions. I'll just wait a minute. Let me know if you got finished. Christine got finished. Good girl, Christine. Good job. The sound of that quietness. Okay, so I'm going to assume nobody has any questions. Next week, I think we're going to do an easy grocery bag that you can throw into the wash machine when you get home. A couple fabrics. I have to kind of work it out this week, so I'll have to post on Facebook what the fabric dimensions are. I know I want to say it's 2 colors, and it may be a half a yard of each color, because it's gonna go salvage to salvage, I believe, half yard of each color. So, oh, thanks, Christine. Thanks for saying that. But I'll double check. And we'll do more zipper bags later. I was just I don't want to zipper bag you to death. You know what I mean? So, and like I said at the beginning, if you want this to be a little stiffer, you're going to use the Decker Bond. And I will say this, so if you're out, shopping or online shopping, Pellon Decker Bond, DECOR, Decker Bond, pick up a yard of it, so when we get ready to do this bag, you'll have your supplies already. Now, we may not do it until December, we may do it January, but we'll do it just so you know. You'll have different bags that you can feel the differences. We'll do one with probably with fusible fleece, because fusible fleece is a little thinner than batting, but just keep some of the stuff on hand. So when you're out, just pick up those supplies, few zippers, that kind of thing. Okay, so I dropped that on the floor. Didn't mean to. Okay, so I'm just going to stop so like I said, 1 more minute. So I know we went, let me see, we were kind of late, so we're about 2 hours, I think, aren't we? 1:30, probably 1:45, yeah. Okay, so I'm guessing everybody's all set. So let's see, my speech at the end. Thanks especially to everyone for joining in. For some of you that join in and didn't chat, come on in and chat so we know you're there. Ask any questions you want. If you need to see something redone, it's fine. Most everyone is happy when you ask a question, because they were probably thinking about that same question. So please subscribe to my YouTube. To my YouTube channel. Be nice to subscribe to Facebook, but I'm not. I'm not. I don't push that one. I'm more of the YouTube kind of person. Hit the like button if you liked it. Or the thumbs up button if you liked it. And I always say you don't need to hit the thumbs down. You just can hit don't come back, I guess. And hit the bell so you get the little notice when I either post a video or come online. Excuse me. I'm hoping as a little time goes by, I'll be able to get some shorter videos up that aren't live, so you can watch along. Like I may do just the tabs on the zipper, or putting the zipper part in little pieces, and I'll title them as best I can so that if you only need to know the zipper part or you only need to know the tab part, that maybe at some point I'll be able to do little short videos for each of those sections so you don't have to listen to me for, 2 hours. Listening once is okay, probably twice is too much. So, and I'm just kidding. Okay, so thanks again. Have a good weekend. Some of you I will see Thursday night, 7 p.m. We're working on the Christmas table runner. Anybody's welcome to join in. And otherwise, I'll see you next Saturday. And I unfortunately think now I have I have a Saturday class, but I think it's earlier. So it should be 1 o'clock. If I find out anything different, I'll post it on YouTube. Unfortunately, there's no place to post it on Facebook. There's no place to post it on YouTube. So again, for the 100th time, I know. Have a good weekend. Thanks for joining in. Make a few of these. Here's some more Christmas gifts for you, and I will see you next Saturday or Thursday. Bye.